Here are some frequently asked questions about stag beetles and rhino beetles. Will my adult beetle continue to grow? No. Once an adult, they can no longer grow. Stag beetles and rhino beetles, and just about any beetle, do all their growing in the larval stage. Are these beetles poisonous? No. Stag beetles and rhino beetles are not poisonous. Does it get hurt when you get pinched? Yes, it does hurt. And it can hurt quite a bit, but generally it heals pretty quickly. What do adult beetles eat? In the wild, they'll feed on fruits and tree sap. In captivity, I recommend feeding them beetle jelly or any type of non-citrus fruits. Just wash the skin and be aware of pesticide. What's a good enclosure for my adult beetle? Generally a container that's around maybe 2 to 3 times your beetle's body length. But honestly, you don't have to stick to a strict requirement of size. Beetles are generally pretty flexible. As long as they can fit comfortably in the container, they should be okay. Just make sure they have enough space to move around in. How long will my beetle live? It really depends on the species. Generally anywhere from a couple months to a couple years. Generally speaking, most stag beetles will live longer, and rhino beetles do not live very long. Rhino beetles typically live maybe at 1 year at most, and stag beetles can live around 6 months to maybe several years depending on the species. For example, my Dorcas hopi is the longest living stag beetle. They can live up to 4, maybe 5 years. I also have a Prosopocoilus bisoncyctus. Prosopocoilus genus can generally live around 6 months to 12 months. And I also have a Odontolabus silvipari. Odontolabus generally are more short-lived, maybe around 4 to 8 months. Popular beetles like the Hercules beetles can live up to 1 year. Same thing goes with Goliath beetles. Other beetles like Western Hercules or Dynastes grantii can only live maybe like 2 to 4 months. What do stag beetles and rhino beetle larvae feed on? The larvae feed on wood that has been decomposed, usually made out of oak, with some additives in order for additional nutrition, and also fermented so it will break down the lignin in the wood and allow the larvae to digest it. How long will it take for my larva to become a beetle? For small species and most stag beetles, usually 1 year or less. For larger species, say like Hercules beetles and mini rhino beetles, typically about 1 year, 1 to 2 years. Some species can take even longer, like up to 3 years, like the elephant rhino beetle. And with the Actaeon beetle, I heard can take up to 5 years at most, which is crazy. How often should I replace the flake soil for my larvae? Generally around every 2 to 3 months. It kind of depends on the container size. For rhino beetles and flower beetles, you may see some frass or poop show up on the top. For stag beetles, this isn't very obvious at all. But typically around every 2 to 3 months is the appropriate length to keep your beetle in the flake soil before changing it. What temperature should I keep my beetles at? For the adult beetles and larvae, generally it's pretty similar. You keep them around a range of maybe 65 to 80 degrees. I like to keep my beetles at around 70 to 75 degrees. I think this is like one of the best sweet spots. Really helps with growth and also lifespan. Temperatures above this range or below may cause higher chance of death. So I recommend keeping within that range. Last one is, how much space does my larva need? Usually the L1 or L2 larvae will fit in anywhere from a 16 to 32 ounce, maybe even less sometimes. L3 can vary a lot depending on the beetle species. It could be anywhere from 32 ounces to 64 ounces, or maybe even a gallon and a half. For rhino beetles, they need even more space. For example, Hercules beetles can probably take around up to 2 gallons, and you want to change out about half the flake every time. So these are just some of the frequently asked questions I get about stag beetles and rhino beetles. If you have any other questions, feel free to comment in the comment section, and I'll make sure to answer you. Thank you.